Boom! Welcome everybody. Maté talk time. What a joy. What a joy. What a joy to be before you all. Hopefully everybody is well and strong, healthy, happy, all those components. Now, what is Maté talk? One continuous roll. Hopefully I don't make any mistakes. Sometimes it gets a bit scary. Mind you, can I just share? This is take 3. Because I made a mess of the last one and I'm like, nope, I ain't going with that. So we're starting again. So hopefully it's a smooth ride from here. Yerba mate is what I'm drinking. Hopefully you have an awesome drink. I know that there are some people across the world who are exploring yerba mate for the first time. Just to give you a heads up, it's very bitter. So it's a bitter herbal drink. Argentinians and South Americans drink it, and it's all about vitality and energy. That's what this drink provides. I wish it could provide the ability to do a mate talk without having to do a cut, but there's no guarantee on that one. So anyway, let me have a small drink and we will begin again. I'll tell you where I stopped so you know what occurred. All right, so just to let you know, everybody know, I am testing. And for those who are familiar with the channel know that I've been speaking about this awesome house called NUIT NOMADE. I discovered them when I was in Paris last year. If you're not familiar with the brand, go and you want to know where to start. There's a fragrance called Sugar Leather. I definitely recommend that you start there. They, even if you don't like leather fragrances, you think, oh no, a bit too animalic, try Sugar Leather out. You will be impressed at how beautifully divine this fragrance is. Anyway, Sugar Leather. So what I've been testing is one called Bohemian Soul. And it's in reference to the, an homage to the movie Endless Summer, which is essentially a documentary about surfing. I'm not a surfer, so I haven't watched the movie. I do know the poster. It's this, two-tone color sort of looking image. Made me think, before I started testing, that this would be a somewhat aquatic fragrance. Now, I don't know if that is the intention. I don't get that vibe out of it. So it's not an aquatic fragrance, as opposed to a fragrance more that is almost soul still. Oh, there you go, Bohemian Soul. So it's stilling your mind. When it dries down, it does go into a musk sandalwood place. And when I say sandalwood, it doesn't have sometimes those elements of creaminess and things like that. It doesn't have a woody component to it. But musk, so if you like white musk style of fragrances, then Bohemian Soul will be your thing, will be your jam. I've been enjoying it today. I'm currently about an hour deep in the dry down. When it opens, it has a very distinct green Artemisia herbal note, to the point almost being sweet, fennel-like. There is a sweetness to it. There is no sugar note that I know of. It does have olibanum and it does have myrrh. So I know that both of those sometimes create a bit of a sweetness, or they're a sweet incense, or considered a sweet incense. It's really spectacular. So as an office fragrance, as a day-to-day fragrance, Bohemian Soul is glorious. Now, this is the second day that I've been testing. I thought that maybe it was more of moderate to low, and more specifically a low style of fragrance. I caught up with a friend this morning, and as soon as I said, g'day, hello, he's like, whoa, nice fragrance. So I'm gonna now put it into more of a, where I thought it was more low-ish, I'm gonna say that it definitely lives between that moderate to low when it comes to its projection and sillage. He also detected the greenness in the fragrance. That was earlier in the, so he wasn't detecting so much the woody and musk components to it, other than the green sort of herbal notes that the fragrance actually has. Really spectacular. As I was preparing today, this is the only fragrance I'm wearing today, by the way. So I was really, it's been really popping on me. A really gorgeous fragrance. And again, I'm a big fan of the house. So NUIT NOMADE, watch the space. There are more things coming in this direction. So far, so far I'm still on track. I didn't stop yet. I'll tell you where I stopped. And I've got 1 bar left on my battery. It's gonna be interesting today. Here we go, we're gonna keep moving. Now, at the moment, everyone is celebrating Ramadan. Not everybody, but a lot of people around the world are celebrating Ramadan. I caused a little bit of sort of upheaval couple weeks ago when I showed this dessert. I'm like, I found this, I went to my Lebanese retail outlet where I buy my yerba mate from. I bought this treat because it's something that they have for Ramadan. And I didn't know what it was. And so I asked everybody, what is this thing? What's this dessert? Because it's absolute magic. I've been getting so many different comments and I'm like, and as I research, as I get these names, I Google and I'm like, that's not it. So I went back. Boom. Look at this beautiful thing. Actually, I'll show you. That was the little piece. Before I started, I took a little bite, maybe. This is the bigger piece. There was 4 pieces left. This is one of those 4. Now, this is divine. So as soon as I opened that, the smell that comes through, so you're getting a mixture of pistachio, an orange blossom, this egg white marshmallow, component on top. So it's actually called kabouche. No, that's wrong, I said that wrong. Smart boy. I actually recorded the lady and I asked her to say it for me. Carbouche. Carbouche. It's called, this is the way I said it. Carbouche. Carbouche. I said it brutal ways. Carbouche. Carbouche. Today's the last day of the Ramadan fasting month. So if you have a chance, run, don't walk, and see if you can find carbouche. If this, she mentioned to me that as after today, it's done. There is no more carbouche until next year. So naturally I had to get myself my last slice. I'm gonna put this away because I can smell it talking to you. It is sublime. This is an exceptionally beautiful, normally, to give you a heads up, I'll buy a treatings of some sort and I share with everybody in the office. This carbouche is mine. And that's not to be greedy, but it's greedy. I'm not sharing, all right? Is there a problem with that? All right, let me keep moving. Now, for those who might be new to the channel, actually the channel again is doing some beautiful growth. Thank you everyone for your support. I really, really appreciate that. You might not know that I have a partner called Kevin. Actually, Kevin just came back from Japan, and I don't know if you can see this. See this guy here? It's a silver Rayleigh. Forget about it. And he's next to Zorro. Sorry, I'm just nerding up. His fiance said to him, "Why are you buying Marcelo a toy?" And all Kevin did, he said to me, he just looked at her like, "What? Not a toy. These are cool figurines." Okay, fine, it's a toy, but anyway, it's a cool toy. Anyway, so Kevin and I are business partners, and we have a business called KM Fragrance Tours. As you can tell, I'm knee deep, probably chin deep in all things niche perfumery. Have a beautiful collection, and I really love connecting with, so in the lead up to creating this business, really loved connecting with perfumers and going behind the scenes and discovering more about the art of perfumery. As a result, we've created this luxury tour company essentially, and we're taking people around the world to discover or to show them these beautiful things. We have a tour coming up in September. If you want to know more, email me. I'll send you all those details. Some of the things that we'll be doing. Now, we are revisiting a gentleman by the name of Francois Henin. Now, he owns an incredible boutique in Paris called Javoy. Javoy is also a brand, so there is the Javoy fragrances. Now, we had an opportunity, or our group, we did this tour. Our first inaugural tour was last year in September, and we had an opportunity to meet with Francois in his Javoy boutique. We had an exclusive experience alongside him, so this was only opened for our guests. And Francois took us through the different collection that he has, or the different fragrances within his collection. Now, guests had a chance to engage and ask questions and understand more. He has a very deep knowledge when it comes to raw ingredients. That was his original business, creating raw essential oils for the perfume industry. And one of the questions was, can you tell me more about Ambergris? Now have a look at this. He actually went to his office and came back with an actual Ambergris piece. This is something that he found himself. We had the opportunity to actually smell, touch, and experience what real ambergris is. And ambergris, actually, he kept calling it gray amber. And of course, ambergris, gray amber, ambergris. we had a chance to experience this. Have a look at, this is one of the guests on the tour, her name is Sarah. Have a look at her face, have a look at this as the camera goes up to her. And now look at her eyes, just as we about to move the camera away. This was potent. So I know that sometimes when you smell ambergris and fragrances, I've heard people say, well, it has an aquatic kind of scent profile too. It does have a touch of animalic. To actually touch and handle the actual raw ingredient, this actual ambergris, and he mentioned that this particular thing, or this particular ambergris, had been floating for years on the ocean. He also mentioned that that the way you can tell that it's real ambergris is that you can see different components of the squid that's actually in this. This is something that the whale vomits out, essentially. And in vomiting, so it's a process that happens within the whale's stomach. It vomits this thing out. It sits on the ocean for a number of years. So you have a very animalic, very deep, does have oceanic vibes to it, but it's almost algae to the point of being algae. And again, look at Sarah's face. Gives you an idea of how potent the raw material actually is. We had to go wash our hands afterwards. Actually, Francois warned us. He goes, you can handle it, just careful with it. It's actually quite brittle. There's a brittleness to the actual thing. You'd think that it would be heavy. In fact, it's very lightweight. So afterwards, we had to go wash our hands. There was he goes, you're gonna smell ambergris in your fingers for the rest of the day now. So this is what we do as part of the tour. The idea is to do more than just smell a beautiful fragrance and discover what that house is about. Yes, we do that. But it's also now these, well, as I said, you can pay for being in Paris, you can pay for being in the Javois store, but the priceless moment is discovering something like this, which was pure serendipity. We didn't know that this was going to happen, but he saw the enthusiasm of our group, and Francois wanted to show us what this raw ingredient was really, really about. So if you'd like to know more, email me. I'll love to answer any of your questions that you might have when it comes to all things KM Fragrance Tour and the France tour that we're doing this coming September. Now, the last announcement is we're doing an NFC Live on Sunday the 21st and Monday the 22nd. Last month, I had the opportunity of having Michael, who loves all things Perfume de Mali, and got a really good response. The thing was, obviously, this is Michael's collection that he was sharing. They were a lot more masculine-leaning fragrances. Got a lot of positive questions from people, so I thought, wouldn't it be cool to do another Perfume de Mali? But this time, let's be a little bit more holistic. Let's bring in some female fragrances. For those who might know the great Michael Marzano, I've done a few episodes with him. Michael has now become one of the experts with Perfume de Mali, and we're going to do a live alongside him. So he is going to give me a list of 8 different fragrances across both masculine and feminine. So if you'd like anything to do with Perfume de Mali, you'd like to know a lot more. It's something that I don't have in my collection, the PDMs. So here's a great way to discover some new fragrances that might be of interest to you when it comes to PDMs during the live. Boom, man, did I make a mess of that? That was kind of okay. Actually, so the other 2 times I cut back there, I made a mess of trying to explain about ambergris. I forgot. Anyway, doesn't matter. Moving on. I'm all good. Let's have a small drink. Let's be cool. Let's calm down. All right, so a couple of weeks back, I had the crazy idea of allocating a fragrance to the different characters in Dune. For those who've seen Dune 1, the characters, you become so immersed in this world that I wanted to know in my own brain, what are these individuals wearing when it comes to their scent, their perfume. Now, that episode was quite a success. A lot of people liked this fantasy concept. So, and I've been asked, can I do a follow-up for Dune 2 and some of the characters that are sort of introduced in Dune 2. Boom, today is what we're about to do. I actually, rather than nerd up on my own, I invited my son, for those who might not know Nelson, just to see the chemistry, well, not the chemistry, but the goofiness of us two, 2 peas in the same pod. So Nelson, we almost share was going to say we share the same brain, but we don't. But we're very similar in our sense of humor and sort of the way we see things. So I actually enlisted his help. Last night we went to see Dune 2, got home very late. So maybe this is why I'm feeling a bit tired. So these fragrances we worked out together, all right? So this is what we felt would be suitable for each of these particular characters. And as we watched this film, so we had them all lined up, we were like, yes, that's definitely, and even afterwards, after the film had finished, we're like 100% they were wearing that. Boom. All right, we're back. So the characters, what are they wearing? We were scientific about this, both Nelson and myself. We wrote down a number of different fragrances off the cuff. As we smelled them, we're like, no, this is not him. Some of them we nailed straight off the bat. The one that I'm about to present is one that I'm like, he's definitely wearing this. Nelson challenged me on it until he smelt the fragrance, and I went through some of the scenes with him, and he's like, oh yeah, he's wearing this. So let me begin with FEYD-RAWTHUA. FEYD-RAWTHUA, Baron Fey, or what is it, Fey-Baron, Fey-Baron. What an incredible, okay, so last thing, I am gonna put the spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen the movie and you want to see it, and I recommend everybody should see this. This is like a minimum. This is cinema at its best that I've seen in a very, very long time. Just about actually one thing that we did point out, Nelson and I, because we went to watch it last night, that you could stop a frame and it looks like a painting. So every shot means something. Sometimes it's a bit frustrating, so I'm gonna rant a bit. It's frustrating when you watch a movie and it's almost, you feel like some of these shots are fillers, or even conversation is just a filler just to keep the running time at at what they're trying to achieve. This is 3 hours and you are enthralled all the way through. So spectacular movie. If you haven't seen it, you need to go see it. See number one first, otherwise it'll be a little bit out of context, some of the things that are happening. I will give you a spoiler alert, because I'm gonna start talking about plot lines or about certain things that occurred, and it's gonna wreck it for you, okay? So when you see spoiler alert, means that I'm about to say something that you don't wanna hear if you haven't seen the movie. The spoiler alert will then go away, and now you can resume if you want to, or turn the audio down, so that way I don't wreck the movie for you. All right, let me begin. So as I was saying, FEYD-RAWTHUA is such an evil character. He's psychotic, he is just villainous, but yet the way that Austin plays him, Austin Butler, the way he plays him, you are drawn to this individual, even though you know that he most likely will kill you. So it's just incredible the way that he did this performance, because he could have just been a nutter, he could have been a madman, just killing and slashing and all the rest of it. But yet there is a charismatic nature to him that and even there are some there's such a nuanced performance, some subtlety in the way he does things and the way he smiles. And honestly, it was just spectacular. Just the way he performed was spectacular. So what's he wearing? He's wearing BACCARAT Rouge, BACCARAT Rouge 540 extrait version. Why? All right, so this fragrance here transcends any form of gender. So it doesn't matter who you are. When you wear this, you just emanate this divine scent. You are almost to the point of being heavenly. Let me just say this, and this is, so and in preparing, I'm like, do I say, do I not say? But I need to say it. I know that there are other fragrances that smell like, but nothing is like BACCARAT Rouge. And maybe I'm just being, I guess my best, so a cheeseburger from McDonald's is, yeah, it's a cheeseburger and makes you feel good, but it doesn't compare to a beautiful steak. A steak is a steak, a beautiful grass-fed or even grain-fed steak that's well cooked. I mean, you can taste the difference. Yes, it's both meat, but you can see the difference, or you can taste the difference in the two. I can, look, and maybe I can smell the difference. I know that there are things that smell like Baccarat Rouge. For me, it's a very singular note in these other fragrances, whereas in the real thing, there is a nuance that happens and moves and dances. It doesn't stay in this one sort of pitch the whole time. Some of the dupes I've smelled remains at that same pitch, that sort of kind of sweet caramel, alluring, whereas when you smell Baccarat Rouge, there are moments where there is like a bitter note that comes out of it. There's a movement in this particular fragrance that I've only discovered in Baccarat Rouge. Sandra loves wearing this. I love wearing this myself. I've smelled this in the air of like my son when he wears this. And even now in spraying it, so that opening is so alluring. It snares you so quickly. There's a reason why this is probably one of the biggest hitting fragrances that's out there. So there's very good reasons why Baccarat Rouge is what has the reputation that it has. Now, Faye is wearing this because he is so alluring. His scent profile is so inviting and so, this is why people are drawn close to him and allows them. I mean, think of that, okay, spoiler alert. Think of that one moment where he is testing those knives and these slaves are next to him so close, even though the guy who's presenting the knife knows what's about to happen. You know, he's sweating going, I'm about to get killed here. Whereas the two slaves, they're just, until he slices them both without any care at all. The fact that he killed his own mother gives you an idea that his mother trusted him to be close, and yet he was psychotic enough to do that. It's because he has an alluring scent that makes you feel at ease, that draws you in, that makes you fall in love with this character, even though he's a madman and will most likely kill you. Why would you want to wear Baccarat Rouge? There is everything. It's just a glorious fragrance. Things like the opening notes with the saffron that's in there. There is a sweet note, even though nothing is listed. For me, I get this beautiful sweet caramel-like component to it. I know there is jasmine, and it could be that jasmine sometimes have that sort of sweet, alluring sort of scent profile to it. It has things like cedar wood and other, I can't remember the rest, but I know that it does have cedar woods in the base, which gives it its longevity and performance. Test out Baccarat Rouge. You'll find that this is quite an alluring and very, very sexy, draws you in, just a divine fragrance. A beautiful, beautiful scent profile that this has. Excuse me, I'm gonna have a small drink. I think I got a little bit distracted. In spraying this, you do instantly fall in love. The scent, the sexiness of the fragrance grabs you very quickly. I find that longevity and projection is incredible. So again, I go back to I find that the dupes of it are just constantly like, boof, have this incredible push and just like they're everywhere. Whereas I find that Baccarat Rouge doesn't quite have that same sort of massive, massive push, but it has incredible projection. So it doesn't fill a room, but people know that you are wearing this particular fragrance. All right, let me move on. So now we've got Princess Irulan, and I love how she's being played by Florence Pugh. Here's another, this is an actress. I mean, okay, so Austin Butler, incredible performance. I feel that Elizabeth does such a beautiful job in creating this balance between being wise, but yet there's a sense of innocence about her. That moment, spoiler alert, that moment where she realizes that the Reverend Mother is the spider who's creating this web and creating all this havoc within this galaxy, this universe, that she's been played, that everybody's been played, and so. Anyway, she plays it so beautifully. So the character of Princess Irulan, there's a sense of purity to her too. Even when she's dressed in that, I guess somewhat provocative looking outfit that she's got on, she doesn't ooze, I didn't think she did. She didn't ooze any level of sexuality. You know, there was no Unlike, you know, let's take Princess Leia in that, well, of course she's wearing a bikini suit, so yeah, but yeah, if you look at that final scene with her in that outfit, it's still, she still radiates a level of restrained control as opposed to feminine sort of sexuality. So what is she wearing? She's wearing Dolce Melodia. This is, well, for starters, as a fragrance, is just, it's just pure, this is pure magic. I mean, I don't know if you can add another layer above pure magic, but this is just absolutely divine. Sandra, my wife, doesn't like, this is quite actually comical, she doesn't like vanilla in fragrance, she doesn't like overt fruit notes. Guess what this baby is? So this has a very delicate base of vanilla. I mean, you can detect it on opening. It has this incredible fruity component, which is in the heart, a blend of pear and black currant. Then it's surrounded by florals and everything else. As Nelson and I were bringing together what could Princess Irulan actually be wearing, we both agreed that there is a sense of femininity, but a sense of innocence, not sexuality, is brought forward. So we both felt that it needed to have florals, but they also needed to have a fruity touch. And that fruitiness does bring, I guess, a youthfulness to the individual. This is all of those things. And let me go one more. Nelson, when we were watching the movie, he had the strip, he's smelling this, and he's like, this is Princess Irulan. He could actually see, like, almost like it transcended the smell and seeing the performance or the actress on screen wearing this particular fragrance. This is divine. I don't, personally, look, I like wearing different fragrances. I do like wearing florals. I don't think I can pull this off. I haven't worn it yet. At the moment, Sandra's been rocking this fragrance. Every opportunity she has, she does wear this. The sillage that she has is on the moderate to high. The longevity is 7+ hours. I can smell this all day long. We go out for, sorry, I thought my camera stopped. We go out for a walk. I'm next to her, but it's almost like this swirl of cloud is just revolving around us, and it's Dolce Melodia that's sort of singing. The actual name, Dolce Melodia, means sweet harmony, or sweet melody, sorry. And think of it like a song. When you hear a melody that you just is so enticing and so inviting, and so there's a familiarity, or there's a beautiful component to that. That's what this fragrance is all about. It does radiate a sense of innocence also. There's no, again, it's not sexually charged at all, not to my opinion. There's a sweetness to this fragrance. There is a playfulness, there is a youthfulness. And of course, Christian Provenzano, the rock star perfumer, is the creator of this particular fragrance. Let's talk about sexuality. So here's the character of Lee Sedol. Now, I love, Leah Sedol. And I just find that anything that Leah's in, she's extraordinary. One, she's a very attractive or very beautiful woman. And she does bring, and I think it's her eyes. She always has these sort of sleepy bedroom eyes. So there's instantly, when you see her on screen, you always feel the more of a sexuality component. You know, it is a bit more sexually charged. Her character in this movie, so her playing Margot Fannering, is, I just think, even though there is nothing that is overtly sexy, so there's nothing that sort of shows too much skin. I mean, there's only in that one moment where you see her, a bit more of her sort of side of her back, I think it was. That's the only time there's any hint of any sort of form of skin. She's shrouded. I mean, she's part of the Bene Gesserit, but she oozes sexuality. And that one scene when she's walking down the corridor and Faye is in front and he comes up to her and puts a knife to her neck. Now we understand by this stage, spoiler alert, by this stage we know that he is psychotic and will kill at an impulse. And yet, even though he puts the knife to her throat, it doesn't do anything. And I did wonder why. If you look at that scene again, he actually smells her. He does take a breath. So what's he smelling? None other than Narcotic V by NASOMATTO. This is sexuality on overdrive. I dare you to spray this and not have impure thoughts. This fragrance here is all about feminine power. This is how I'm seeing it. I know that and I've actually done an episode on this. Some men have written in saying they love wearing this fragrance. This is not one that I could wear. This is one that my wife loves wearing, and I love it when she wears it. It does radiate just divineness. This is incredible, and I'm guaranteed Margot is wearing this. Actually, Nelson again, he's like, yeah, Margot's wearing Narcotic V. The way that she is able to so easily seduce this psychotic creature that is Faye is incredible. And then that one scene where she reports back to Reverend Mother and says, the bloodline is secure. The deal was done because Narcotic V was in the house. So good fragrance if you up to no good. All right, small drink. Or up to good. I mean, yeah, you could be up to good and we'd be wearing Narcotic V, why not? Okay, Gurney. I love Gurney. I love Josh Brolin, period. I find no matter where he's in, whatever his performance, Josh never dials in a performance. I see sometimes some actors, you feel like they just sort of, they obviously needed the money and they're here and they're doing their thing. Whereas I feel like Josh gives that 100% no matter what he does. And here as Gurney, you just love him. You just love his bruteness and who he is in the opening movie in Caladan and who he is. And as you see him here, he's the same character, just longer hair essentially. What is he wearing? So none other than the incredible VIRIDE by ORTO Parisi. This is a fragrance that he was wearing on Caladan. This celebrates the deep forest. It's almost like you've been living in the forest for 3 months. You are become one with the forest, both from its cedar wood components, its herbal nature, but also its earth undergrowth. All of this is in here. I always say that when an aromatic fragrance grows up, such as, you know, take anything from Creed. I mean, those are beautiful. They're sort of not boyish, but there is a youthfulness to them, an aromatic brightness. When they finally grow up, they become a VIRIDE, because this is now a more masculine, more muscular style of aromatic fragrance. And Gurney, I can see him rocking this, and I can see him rocking this in Arrakis. It has this animalic oud, not algae, hey, let me spray. But there is a roughness to this. There is a rawness, not roughness, a rawness to this fragrance. And it's potent. On that opening, it's herbal and it's inviting, it's masculine. It has things like sage, it has things like thyme. It's divine, it's divine. When it dries down, it does go into a much more sort of, like I said, you can feel the veins popping up, you know, when you sort of grab your hand and you do the stretchy, and you see your veins. That's what this fragrance does. There is a muscular component to it. It's very potent. And I can see Gurney rocking this fragrance without a problem. All right. The Emperor. And this one took a long time. Between Nelson and I, he's wearing this, no, he's wearing that, he's wearing that. And then we sort of settled on the fact that the Emperor is about one ritualistic. So if you see him, he always looks like, even his outfit, it's pristine. It's almost like it's been literally stained on him. You know, it's so crisp and so perfect. Even though his hair, and Christopher Walken, another incredible actor, even though his hair is this shock of white, but everything seems in order. So we felt that he's actually wearing an attar. And the process, you know, as he prepares himself, of course, he doesn't prepare, he has servants who prepare him. He has an array of AMOUAGE attars, and every scene he's wearing something different. In that scene where he is with his daughter in the garden and they're playing chess, he's wearing an orris and, what did I say? I had it all worked out. Orris and vanilla? No, stop. Orris and, no, he hasn't. Every scene I'm like, yeah, he's wearing this. But he does have the orris. 100% he's got the orris fragrance. For those who are not familiar with the attars, you just put a small dab, and it's through the heat and the actual rubbing of the oil that it produces this incredible scent cloud. So in that scene, he's wearing the Iris. Then when he is with the Reverend Mother and his daughter, he's wearing a vanilla fragrance, just a very subtle vanilla. And then finally, when he arrives on Arrakis, he's wearing the oud and rose combination. A dab of each. The oud is potent. That oud from the attar has the animalic component, but that rose brings the whole thing down. Creates his most unique oud rose combination, equal part, I guess, visceral and strong, brutal if he needs to be, but he has that floral component there, which then, you know, he can also demonstrate mercy if he needs to. Last one, Stilgar. I think probably apart from Timothy playing Paul, Stilgar would be my most favorite character in Dune 2. I liked him in Dune. In Dune, he was very abrasive and rough, short. He was not temperamental, but definitely had a short temper. Whereas here, he's evangelical and he is giving his full support to Paul. He is so, he's a true believer. He believes that Paul is Lisan al-Gaib. He knows that Paul is Lisan al-Gaib. So what's he wearing? And the funny thing was, when I first suggested this to Nelson, he's like, no, he's not wearing that, because it's the Overture Man it's too refined. It's too perfect almost. You know, it's a regal fragrance. Until we sprayed. Actually, let me just spray. So I sprayed there. Yep. The opening of this fragrance is the very character. Ooh, there it is. Can I? It's been a fun day. The card was full. It started to stop on me. I'm on my own today, so I've had to balance all things for this month. Anyway, it's all good. We're moving forward. The good thing was this, that after I sprayed just before, the strong animalic notes that emerge from this fragrance is potent. The opening of the fragrance has, supposedly, it has a cognac note. I don't know where this cognac note is. It's listed as a cognac note. There's no level of booziness to my nose, no level of booziness whatsoever. Instead, I'm getting a very strong animalic mixed in with cumin and nutmeg and cinnamon and these spicy but harsh spicy notes. It is so strong. It is such a potent fragrance. Now, again, Nelson, not that he challenged me, but he was like, no, I don't think he's wearing that. He needs to be wearing something a little bit dirtier. He actually was saying he should be wearing some kind of patchouli or something of that nature until we sprayed. And as soon as we sprayed, he's like, whoa, he's wearing that. He is wearing that fragrance because he is the opening of Overture Man is so harsh. It really not destabilizes you, but it takes you by surprise. You just, because you look at this bottle and everything about it screams regal. You know, the color of the juice, this beautiful lid and everything else. All of it it symbolizes like, wow, this is going to be like, and then when you see that there's a cognac note, you're like, oh, this is going to be amazing, until you spray and you're like, what in the world is this fragrance? You got to let it dry down. As it begins to move through, and similar to Stilgar's character, in Dune 2, when he becomes, and I guess it's that Messiah sort of storyline where he is John the Baptist to Paul's Messiah, as it begins to emerge through, the fragrance also begins to dry down and begins to soften down. One of the key base notes that are in this fragrance is both frankincense and clary sage. Both of these have been used in religious ceremonies, and so it's very much in line with Stilgar's character. Abrasive and repulsive, not repulsive, but pushing back that, you know, Paul is not the guy. Maybe there's some signs there, but I don't think so, until he is converted and understands that he is Lisan al-Gaib, and that he then becomes You know, essentially, as I said, the John the Baptist to his Messiah. The fragrance does the same thing. Abrasive, very strong on the opening. You're like, what have I just done? Until it begins to dry off and start to come down. And then you have the most smoothest, the most regal, the most refined incense style fragrance that you're likely to experience. Last time around I spoke about this. A lot of people said, what about Jubilation 25? Yes, Jubilation 25 is beautiful from the start all the way through. Whereas here, look, and maybe what I should do is put them side by side, Jubilation 25 and Overture Man, and see who would be the winner. My vote is with this guy. I enjoy, and you can see, I use this fragrance, but it looks like I haven't even touched it. You don't need a lot. 2 sprays, more than sufficient. Last night when we watched the movie, 1 spray, and that was, I mean, we got that very harsh, I sprayed outside of the car, very harsh opening, animalic components. But then in the cinema, as we're watching, I'm like, my man, Stilgar, you smell good, brother. Even now, it's beginning to come off. There is one note, and that's actually listed. If you look at the AMOUAGE website, it does say animalic note. So it actually celebrates a very, that animalistic, more sort of guttural sort of scent profile, but it does come down. As an incense fragrance, or one that celebrates the joy of frankincense and myrrh and things of that nature, Overture Man, bada bing, glorious fragrance, and one that I would recommend to you because Stilgar's wearing, and Stilgar is an awesome, cool character which we all want to hang out with. I want to hang out with him. I think he's the man. Boom, baby, we are done. Oof, that was a very interesting Maté talk. If you're new to Maté talk, this is probably the most unusual one. Multiple cuts and camera stopping, and anyway, it was an interesting one. I'm hoping everybody is well. I look forward to reading your comments, and thank you for joining me. We'll see you guys all on the next Maté talk. That was a mess. I have been better.